So I wasn't really a chaperoner with them, but
Okay, I'd like to call this caucus meeting to order. I will be looking for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the first regular meeting dated Wednesday, May 10th, 2023, and accepted and prepared by the clerk. One piece of communication. Questions or comments on the communication?
Did you ever read that letter?
Yeah,
That was,
Yeah, that's attached to your agenda, the letter.
so that's what the letter that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And I've already sent this lady an email telling her what you guys decided. Okay.
It was
decided for her paying.
Well, this was the letter she wanted
500.
it removed. And I sent her an email basically telling her notices were set out before she took possession of the property. And then she failed to contact the city to see if there was any liens and failed to maintain the property, so the assessment's gonna stay.
Good.
Yep.
okay.
Anything else on that communication? Mayor's report. Mayor's not here. Bob, do you have? I
Nope.
think she's no report.
No report.
Okay. Report of standing committees.
Finance and legislation for 6 o'clock on June 7th.
Any other committees? Okay, there's no legislation tonight. Unfinished business.
Yeah. What's the deal with the red zone? What are we doing? Is it turning out to be a bust or what?
They are slowly, very slowly working on it. They had ran into some problems with the Maloney County, permits. So they put a stop work order on them temporarily. But from my knowledge, they got the permits that they needed to do the renovations. But I don't know why, but it's a very slow process for them.
Because it was such a big rush to get
Yes.
taken care of.
And we thought it was
now
gonna be
it's just
quickly, but
dragging.
it's been a couple months. We met with gentleman's name, it's slipping me right now, but we met with him and a couple other investors a couple months ago, but like I said, and they were working on it, and they've already made a lot of progress. It's just very slow. So until they're ready to move in, then of course we don't have to address any zoning changes or anything else.
I don't know if this would be under unfinished business or not, but I want to address it to you as well. Who came up with the placement of the dog park?
The dog park, well, we had conversations about that a couple months ago. That is still in the very, very early stages. Truthfully, you haven't passed any legislation, so there's no lease or nothing going on. That was the only viable location that we found in Struthers, where it wouldn't interfere with kids playing or anything else.
What, Nebo?
Right, because the size of Nebo and the size of this park, it being that back towards the tree line, it would not interfere with the football games or anything else. So we thought that would be a viable place. Again, you haven't passed any legislation with any lease or anything else with this, and this is going to be ran by a non-profit organization. They still have a lot of money to raise before they even get, I'm thinking it's going to be at least a minimum of a year of money raising. But when they go to raise the money, you can't say, well, we're going to put a park somewhere in Struthers. They wanted a designated location. So that's why we discussed the different options of Fifth Street Park. There's no parking. Mickler Field is used quite a bit. There's really no place up there for them to do it. You don't want it at Moffy. Moffy, you have your golf and everything else is going on up there.
What about the old North Side Park? Where they-
Mickler Field.
The bottom half, because there is parking,
There is a little bit of parking up front. There is.
and they did take out the playground that was
Yes,
there.
they did.
So now it's kind of uninhabited.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't feel that was a good option for them, but
Well, because I think,
now remember now, this is a nonprofit trying to raise money for a dog park. So
But they
until
would
they
need
actually get the money,
but they would need an MOU from the city before they could even
Yeah.
begin to do anything, because if it's something that council isn't going to approve legislation on, then there would be no reason for them to raise it.
Right.
So that's why a plan
Well,
should
if they're a
be,
nonprofit organization, they can always still take that money and move
use
on
it somewhere
someplace
else, sure.
Absolutely.
But I
So-
mean, I guess, I don't know if we're putting the cart before the horse here and,
It hasn't come to the city yet. This is just a
It's been in
nonprofit
the paper,
organization.
And they
Yeah.
designated Nebo Park, and
But-
I'm not sure if I want it there.
I'm not
This
supporting
committee,
I'll tell you
has
that.
not passed any legislations or addressed this at all. You had conversations about it, you know, we've had talks about it
But we
here in
never
council.
discussed where it was gonna be, like,
I understand that.
unless I missed a meeting.
no.
No, we
Yeah.
never discussed.
So, I think like we,
But like I said,
blindsided by not.
That's
knowing.
that's not set in stone. That's not, you have not passed any legislation saying it's gonna be there.
I would rather have a playground
Well,
in there with.
when the
with-
time,
with-
if they raise enough money to put a park in, then that will be part of the
I
conversation.
understand,
when
but
you go
we're
with the
doing
lease.
this backwards.
We're not
because
doing it.
well, you are, because you allowed a
We're not.
nonprofit, you've obviously designated an area for
We
that.
have not, because that's your job to designate.
Well, how
and
did they
you have
come up
not
with
done
that? How did they come up with that and put
They
it in the
just-
paper?
They
It's in
just
the
picked, they
paper.
just picked a location that we, during our conversations, that we felt was a reasonable place. Now, if you feel that you don't want it there, and you wanna move it to some other location, when they approach you, you tell them that. That's
Yeah,
not that hard.
I do remember having a conversation about this and talking about that specifically as an area that it could possibly be. And I also talked to the mayor about this, and she told me that at the comprehensive plan, at the
Yeah.
meetings, that having a dog park in Struthers was a priority. From
It
from
wasn't
feedback
on
from
the
the
plan,
city.
but there wasn't a location in the plan.
Right,
Right.
right. So,
So-
so as far as that goes, she told me that she's gonna have Sam get, all the information in terms of feedback that was received, regarding the dog park. And I mean, ultimately, yeah, I mean, it's up to, I guess it would be up to us to choose the
I
location.
guess here's all I'm saying, because we did discuss a dog park, and I don't think anybody was against it, we were all,
No.
great.
Yeah,
Prior to choosing a location, somebody from this council would have been good, that would have been abreast or in on that, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you are going to have to approve it.
When they approach you.
Correct,
Yeah.
so I guess all I'm
But
saying
they're a
is,
nonprofit organization,
That
so
means
until
nothing
they
to us.
approach you,
means
until they
nothing to us.
approach you, you don't have a decision to make.
Right.
You know what I'm
How
saying?
did
I would like them to pull the residents around Nebo Park if
Right.
they want all them dogs there.
well, what would have been a
Well,
good,
if
we
you look
also,
at it this way, right now we have dogs at Nebo Park, they're just not fenced in. People take their dogs up there and let them run all the time.
but nobody's,
People take their dogs up to Mothie Park, let them run around in the ball field up there, unleashed. You know what I'm saying? People
Well-
take their dogs just about everywhere and just let them run unleashed. So it's not like it's something new to that area,
But
because people
they
take
are,
their
they are
dogs up there.
also breaking the law.
Yeah, because they should be leashed. Yeah.
They should be leashed,
I
you're
walk my
you're
dog
absolutely
to
right,
Monkey Park every day,
Yes.
and my dog's on a leash.
yes,
All the dogs are on a leash.
but it happens.
Let me ask you this, Bob. How did all this get to the TV stations about Nebo Park up there and everything? It's all over the TV.
The location is not set in stone. The location was just picked as they're trying to raise money. Now, they may not even raise enough money to put a dog park in. I don't know.
But somebody had to tell them about Nebo
During our
Park.
conversations,
For
Ronnie, we
putting
had conversations about
They're
this.
recording
we
me.
did
had
have
conversations
conversations
about
about Nebo being a possible location
Right.
for it, but not specifically
And it's still
the
not
location.
specific, and it's
Right.
still not.
well, they were very specific on it.
Well, they,
Right.
that
So, I
may
mean-
be, but it's not because you didn't pass legislation.
Yeah, and a lot of times, the news gets a little distorted with,
Sure.
well, they talk about this, so,
All my point is,
setting it in stone.
there was a clear-cut way around a lot of this, which would have been, on that board,
Yeah.
why not pick
Well, even Mr.
Jimmy,
Brookside
who is
will-
part of Parks and Rec, to be on that board? A lot of committees get formed with no input from council or nobody from East Parks and Rec.
If you ask me who's on that committee, this 501c that's trying to raise money for a dog park, I can't tell you. I don't know who's doing it, okay? But there's a group of citizens that are trying to raise money to put a dog park in. once they raise enough money, they're going to come to council and ask you for a location. At that time, you can tell them, no, we're not gonna give you a location, or yes, this is the location.
Yeah, all I'm saying
That's all
is,
it is.
if this would have been a discussion that was had with council, you would already know a location because
I understand.
you would have got information from council on where they think the dog park should go. Instead, you are raising money, then you are gonna go to council and figure out where the dog
Yes,
park is going.
because they may never
That's
raise the
why I'm
money.
saying the cart is getting put before the horse. I'm not against the dog park. I
Or
think it's
maybe that-
great that these people are raising money. I think the argument here is getting skewed. The argument, the only argument that I have is if council would have been included in some of this,
You
we could have
understand-
located a
You
site.
understand the city's not involved in this
Well,
fundraiser at all?
the city,
We're
The
not-
city has
the
to be
city's
involved
appropriating the
somehow.
No,
land,
the city's
Bob.
not involved because you
They're not
have
involved.
not passed any legislation.
Somebody gave them the location.
But at
they
some
gave
point
them
you
That's
are-
the location they would like to
all
put.
you're saying is, the city isn't involved now, but we're going to involve you when we need you
If they
to give
come
us
to you.
land.
If they
That's
approach you.
what you're saying. All
Yes.
I'm saying is, involve us from the beginning and skip the second step.
And again, I said, the conversation was had in this meeting.
All right, guys,
Location was not-
we're going in circles now. So when they come to us with a formal request for a location, we will look at it at that time.
And
Sure.
Right,
Okay.
and then the pros and cons of the different
Will be
locations in the city
discussed
will be
and
discussed.
preferably they'll come on a committee meeting night so we can have a little bit lengthy conversation need to be versus a regular night.
I don't even know that that's a bad option. I'm just saying in general,
Right, I understand, but
council's
When
going,
they- when they approach-
council is going to have to pass this.
when they.
Why not ask
when they
council to be a
approach
part of
us, Formally approach us, then we'll act at that time. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, it's like where the news got it from, I suppose is important. I mean, they may have got it from the people that are trying to
They
raise
probably
this
did,
money.
absolutely.
You know,
And that was
was
probably-
a location that was
And that
discussed.
wasn't-
In which case, you know, if it's coming from that source, that's one thing. If it's coming from the administration here, that is, then that's a different story. And I suppose, you know, that's, you know, we can argue that point if that is in fact the case.
Agreed.
If we were to find that out.
Agreed. All I'm saying is it would be nice if the people who ultimately are going to grant the property were involved in the decision-making of the property
When they,
previously.
Right,
They
well,
come- we're going in circles.
Yeah.
When they formally come to us and make a request for a location, then we'll act at that time.
Wouldn't it be nice that the committee would have came to us and sat here?
They haven't done nothing yet.
well, actually, the
have come
guy
here.
that's,
One guy
the
did, yeah.
one
He
guy
did
is,
come
I am gonna call a Park and Recs meeting on the
They did show up
14th.
here.
The guy that is ahead of the, that 501, would like to come and talk, so I was gonna offer him the opportunity to talk,
Yeah.
Good.
so. You know,
Good.
Good.
maybe we can find out some answers there,
Sure.
you know, in terms of how the media got a hold of that, you know, it's like, just because the media says something,
Well, then,
doesn't mean that
I'm
that's
sure
that's
you all
the
dealt
truth.
with 400 calls
But,
from
yeah,
it
but
also.
but
You know what I
from-
mean?
from
Oh,
the
yeah.
paper, not that, but they sounded like all they needed to do was get money for a fence and it was a done deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, and again, when I spoke with the mayor, she did say it's a year out. They're trying to raise funding. She explained all of those things.
Mhm.
It's just difficult when you get, again, a dozen phone calls from people that you have very little knowledge of what they're talking about. You know
Yeah,
what I
oh,
mean?
absolutely, yeah. Oh, it's very frustrating, yes.
Okay. That's
Okay.
for a committee meeting.
Yes.
So, yeah, just hopefully they'll make, when you hear some notification from them, can you somehow get them to a committee meeting night and have further discussion?
Yeah, I was told June 14th, his name is Josh Miley.
That's a regular meeting night,
That's a regular,
a regular
Oh, yeah, 'cause
scheduled
we're
meeting.
skipping meeting.
So we can do
Oh,
the
June
7th?
7th or
You
the
can do the
21st.
7th. or the
okay, all right.
21st. So,
I'll let them know and we'll go from there.
okay.
Yeah, preferably a committee meeting so we can have lengthy conversation if need to be.
Yeah, I've never talked to him, I don't know who he is. In talking with the mayor, she told me that he would like to come and address council, so she said the 14th would be an option, so, but if it's not, then we'll have to make it another day.
Fair enough.
Okay? Unfinished business, everybody got a copy of the Code of Ethics that John finalized or made a final draft on. Hopefully everybody read it. Anybody not read it? Dallas, probably next committee meeting, we're gonna pick at it.
Yeah.
Go over it, and hopefully that if there's anything that needs to be changed, tweaked, added, subtracted, whatever it may be to this. If you remember that, we've been talking about this for about a year now. I asked council to produce me some information that they have maybe got from anywhere. A lot of it was produced to me. I put together a policy or a letter draft. I forwarded it to John for John's review, and John reviewed it, and this is what he came up with. Technically, if we wanted to do a roll call vote on a caucus night, we could do that. But through conversation with John, he suggested put it in a resolution form that would be open for everybody, and also it would be, if time goes down the road and we got to use it for some reason, no one can say that they never remembered passing. Does that sound fair, John? So when we move forward on it, we'll be going resolution form.
Okay.
Okay. So please, any questions, changes, tweaks, whatever it may be, bring them next week so we can get this together and move forward. It's been a year since we've been looking at this, so. That's all I have on fish business. Anybody else? New business.
I have, just like I just want to keep everybody on the same page. I'm part of a steering committee for bicycle lanes and new sidewalks, and we had met yesterday afternoon. There's a lady who is creating a report where she would, I guess with studies showing where bicycle lanes would go and things like that throughout the city. I'm going to be bringing that to council in the next, hopefully right before recess, so then we can look it over recess and we come back. I know there's like $500,000 in grants available, so they want to try and get as many grants as they can for the sidewalks and things like that. So that would just have to be approved before the first of the year, but I want to get this to us so we can really look through it, because they're talking about different type of bicycle lanes and things like that. There's like 4 different options to go with and this and that. But the lane she's talking about putting in would be like down Geneva and 5th Street and a lot of different areas, because I know in the comprehensive plan we were talking about only downtown. So I want to bring that to all of you so then we can at least have a heads up what's to come. So.
Megan, we do have a bicycle lane on 289
Yes.
and across the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I think it ends downtown, don't it?
Here's, what Megan's talking about is, we got the grant for a free active transportation study.
ODOT.
So it's citywide, it's not restricted.
Oh, I got you.
So it's a citywide active transportation which encourages people to bicycle more, walk more, and everything that. So to make the bicycling and walking easier, we replace sidewalks, we put in bike lanes down 5th Street so kids can safely walk.
Gotcha.
And it's been proven that when you do these kind of things, traffic actually slows down. So you're putting in a bicycle lane, the traffic doesn't have a wide. So when people don't have a big wide lane like 5th Street, they don't go as fast. So it's going to accomplish multiple items.
Very good.
And then I have one more question, which I don't know if Bob will have the answer on. The mayor's city vehicle, how are we paying for that?
It's paid for.
It's paid for?
Yes.
So we didn't have to approve anything for any money
No.
going out? Okay.
Where'd that money come out of?
That was last year.
Understood.
Yeah.
I didn't know she had a vehicle until like a few weeks ago, so I wasn't sure where the money.
Yeah, she mentioned that last year. She
Yeah,
wanted a
that's-
pool vehicle.
Yeah. We actually
We've
are.
done a budget.
When we were down a couple of cruisers, Matt Haas has been using it recently to run back and forth to the courts. Our wastewater treatment plant uses it quite a bit to go to Akron to take their tests. So it is basically a city vehicle that's used quite a bit.
Okay.
Any other new business? Report of our law director, John.
I have no report.
Questions for our law director? Our auditor is not here. Bob, safety director, you're next.
No report. I was hoping to have one about our fire station, but that got canceled, so. We were getting close to a punch list.
Hey, Bob, where's Elm Street? Where's that at on the schedule to get redone? Remember, they're gonna move.
We're gonna have a pre-construction meeting probably about the second week of June. Because of our funding purposes, we can't start the actual construction until the 1st of July. But the pre-construction meeting will probably be the second week of June.
Does that go for Center Street as well?
Well, it's all one PID number with ODOT. After our pre-construction meeting, if they want to start Center Street, they can, because our funding is not restricted on Center Street. But they wouldn't, I imagine they'd try to do it all at one time, so when they mill Center Street, they'll want to mill Elm Street at the same time. So it'll probably both be, after the 1st of July.
Any other questions for our
Yeah.
safety director? Go ahead.
471 Judith Lane,
Yes.
okay? I turned this into you, you signed off on it, and is the backyard and all that cleaned up? From what I understand, it's not,
Okay.
okay? And I'm gonna tell you, them people are highly upset.
Okay.
They send me on my phone about it.
All right.
That's Gary Kelbaski and Joanne, live
Yes.
right next door.
Yes.
And they're highly, highly upset about it.
I
And not
know.
only them, they had a fire.
In the backyard.
In the
Because they
backyard.
picked up all the brush and everything from the front, they took it in the back, they had a bonfire. The bonfire was extremely high.
10
Fire
feet
department
high.
had, the fire department went up, told them to put it out. Yes. I'm
Yeah,
aware of all this.
okay, all them neighbors are upset because Joanne told me she had to go to the doctor's the next day because their windows were open and all that smoke and that got in their eyes.
Now, you do understand it's not illegal to have a fire in the city of Struthers.
Right, but it's
Now, that
gotta be,
that fire was extremely high, that's why the fire department told them to put it out.
right,
Okay.
right. I
You're allowed
understand
to
that.
burn wood.
Yes, you're allowed to have a fire.
Yes, you are,
Right.
but there are still stipulations to a fire.
You have to keep
Exactly.
it,
Yeah.
basically, a small, medium bonfire.
Well, there's,
And it has to be so far away from the house, I think it's 20 feet away from the
Yeah,
it
front.
might even be 30, it's 30, isn't it?
No, it's 20.
20?
We ran, well, I visited before this administration, the gentleman up by Lake Hamilton, we know what I'm talking about. He has a situation up there and we discussed that. If that- that's- it's-
Yeah, 20 feet.
they gotta use wood, they can't use roofing materials.
Right.
No garbage.
It has to be
Anything like that.
contained, correct, or like a fire
There
ring
is
or a border?
there is, yeah. So, anything else for our safety director?
I have one more question.
Okay.
There is a complaint on Facebook, I'm sure you've seen it, where a neighbor at an alley near Elm Street is pouring porcelain tile and
I was
nails
just up there
and
today.
things. Okay,
When I was up there, the blocks and everything were moved off to the side.
okay,
Um, the police didn't have any reports on it,
okay.
so there's really nothing I can do until you know what I'm saying?
So the
Now, the
neighbor
one
would have
neighbor
a
says he has
report.
video of it, I have not seen video of that, but
Okay.
that is something else that we are.
I guess my thing is this, if it is in fact the gentleman's property, on that alleyway, how far of an easement does the city have, or does the city's easement end at the end of that pavement? I know on a city road, we have 11 feet from curb.
I don't know what the
Right.
easement is on the alleyway. I know the alleyway is ours,
Yes,
so there's probably a designated, without a
Area?
survey, I
Yeah.
can't tell you, we start
Yeah.
here, we end here, I can't tell you that.
well, I just know on
You know,
city
it might
road,
be, it might, yeah, it
there's
might
a,
be 15 feet and we have a 10-foot alley. I don't know, without a survey, I can't tell you exactly where the city property starts and stops.
if it is his
Yeah.
property in fact, there's really nothing the city can do at that point, correct?
If it's on his property,
Yes.
no.
Okay, that was my only question, I didn't know, I seen that post today and I
But
really
he
didn't
would-
know how to answer.
And I, like I said, I seen the blocks up there,
Porcelain
but
tile, wherever you want it, probably.
no,
It's like trash.
it was poured into like a pothole. Okay, it was,
Okay.
from what I seen up there. So,
Okay. Alright.
Anything else for our safety director?
I don't know how it got in the pothole. It might have been all over the street and the guy swept it into the pot, I don't know. You know,
Okay.
but,
But you did bring up the fire station, can you go us a little bit?
so we were talking about a punch list tomorrow, which means you're getting really close to the end, but, they gotta get some water shut-off valves in there and everything else in order to pressurize the whole water system. So they're pushing the punch list off till next week. And then, of course, once the punch list is complete, then it becomes ours. So, we're getting close.
Did they get the backup generator in yet, Bob?
No,
Are we gonna be allowed to?
occupy without, yes, a conditional occupancy permit will be granted without the generator. And we've talked to generator specialists and they may have a portable that we can use until ours comes in.
Gotcha.
It's supposedly, you know, first or second week of June, it's supposed to come in.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Anything else for our safety director? Okay, Anne Marie DeSantis from the Huntington County Commissioners Grant Manager is gonna be here talking on the floor, tonight. Do we want her to go after anyone wishing to address council? That's the way the agenda has it written. Or do we want her to go first?
I would say first.
Just let it go.
I would say go first, because if we get several citizens.
Yeah, why make her wait?
Yeah.
Right.
Tyra.
If that's
Is that okay?
possible, let her go first.
Is that all right with council to?
Yeah.
Have her go first before anyone wishes to council? Okay? Motion to adjourn caucus.
Make a motion.
Ronnie